Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is December 20th, and today's episode is going to cover some updates from the GMC. On the Rocket Pool side, in staking news, we're going to talk about the gas limit and how that's impacting Rocket Pool as well. And then with Ethereum news, we've got some ETF stuff that's really exciting, and also with the staking as well. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6.
Okay, we're going to start here with this news from the GMC, and the GMC is saying that the GMC is reviewed currently running grants that have seen little to no progress or update in a while. When the GMC started, they accepted a lot of grant applications as is. Since then, the committee has spent more time adjusting the applications and adding parameters to increase their chance of success. An example is that expiration dates have become more of a common practice. The GMC has decided to close the following grants. That's the Trusted Oracle, a Rocket School, Staking Pond, Rocket MEV Monitor, Rocket Perf, and Forced Withdrawals Research Paper. So with the Trusted Oracle, like for all of these, it has information about what the original decision was, and there was an update, with the work that was done, and what's the reason for cancelling the grant. So, for example, for the Trustless Oracle, the last update was a payment made for milestone 1, which was on January 9th, 2024. But then there was no no work submitted for milestone 2, and the applicant was unresponsive, and the space has advanced significantly, rendering this project outdated. For Rocket School, it says the Rocket School content has become outdated, and the GMC has funded Cifrin. With Staking Pond, it says the progress has been slow, and the applicant is focusing on other projects. With Rocket MEV Monitor, it says the scope overlaps with newer ongoing MEV theft reporting efforts, which seem more relevant and repeatable. With Rocket Perf, it says its functionality is largely replaced by Beacon Chain version 2 dashboard, which includes additional features. Awardee seems to somewhat agree with this. And the forced withdrawal paper, it says the draft was posted after the deadline and the awardee did not respond to feedback. The paper's utility and relevance were reduced due to the late submission. So that's the status of some of these grants that have gotten cancelled. If you are curious to see what the status of all the grants and open bounties on Rocket Pool are right now, we have the sheet that has all that information. So you can go and check out, what grants have been paid, what work they've done, what their status is in terms of getting, reaching the final completion. So yeah, this is really cool from the GMC. And it's nice to get this clarity of projects that are now no longer considered open. The GMC, of course, is welcome to get more applications from these same people if they feel like, they want to do the project still. And if someone did work potentially, but didn't complete it, as long as there's something there, they might be able to make a case to the GMC to get a small retroactive grant potentially. Not speaking officially as a GMC member right there then. Okay, yesterday in the Discord, an interesting conversation came up. Sorry if you're watching on the screen. No, there we go. An interesting conversation came up in regards to this comment that the Stadbro director, who's Spartan, made, and he works with Alpha Growth, of course, and they're working on doing kind of BD for the Rocket Pool protocol. And he says, I'm not a technical person. I would love to ask the gigabrains in this channel a question. He says, I've noticed a trend while discussing rETH's integration with L2s, and says many of them are using Dinero to create custom LSTs. I'm wondering, could a similar solution be built on top of Rocket Pool's decentralized infrastructure, allowing chains to create their own LSTs while leveraging Rocket Pool's existing technology? And how long would it take to implement a solution like this? So that actually started an interesting discussion. So, Haloooloolo said, what's the benefit? So he says they have branding with their own chain. So Coinbase has CBETH, Kraken has iETH, zkSync has zkETH, Arbitrum has arbETH, and Scroll plans to do the same. All the L2s above are using Dinero infrastructure for this. So Haloooloolo says, so this essentially could be an rETH wrapper, no? And it says rebrand rETH basically as your own ETH. And the broker director says, yeah, exactly this. It'll allow for L2s to have their own brand and keep the LST secure and decentralized. But I think it wouldn't want a wrapper of rETH. I think they would want a deposit ETH and mint whichever LST brand. So in further discussions, it became clear that you could just achieve that with a wrapper, where the person would put ETH into a contract, and that contract would then use that ETH to mint rETH and put rETH back into the contract, and then it would spit out a wrapper basically with that rETH. So it seems like it's quite straightforward. And basically, this question, like this this question was brought up, like this discussion, sorry, was brought up, and Jasper said, I've never heard of these, and I would be astonished to see that they would last. That said, you would need to make a rocket pool contract fork, essentially. So Jasper was wrong about that. It says Dinero is centralized, if I recall correctly, and this trivial to spin up new instances. But then in further discussion, of course, the wrapper is what works. It seems like that would be the way forward for this. However, Val had some other concerns, and he actually said that CBE is not actually wrapped, from Dinero. It's Coinbase doing their own thing. It's based on Circle and Circle's fiat token, the thing that's under USDC. And then Val had some more information about the other tokens. Here, and then sub broker director says, he was just talking about the branding for their own chain, how it's not part of Dinero, but the rest of them are. And then Val kind of dug into their details to see how big they are. Like, is this something that's actively used? And it seems like it's not. Like, the amount of ETH that is actually in these products is actually really small. I'm really sorry, my browser's being so slow. So Val says, I want to look up the size of the other three. Failed at finding anything for iETH and ArbETH. It says for ZKETH, the total amount that exists is 26.6 ETH worth of ZKETH after a month of existence. So he says these are non-entities. So by non-entities, what he means is that, like, they don't have any market share, and they've not found much usage. They're not used in DeFi. It's nice for these organizations to say, hey, look at this like nice token we have of our own, but like the functionality of it is not that high, and it wouldn't drive too much demand potentially to Rocket Pool, unless of course the protocol, like that layer 2 really leaned into it and said, hey, you should definitely use this is amazing, this is fantastic, like everyone should be using this. Or if you want to use our bridge, then we are going to swap our bridge ETH into chain X ETH or whatever it is, and then on the back end that would just be a wrapper for rETH. That could be really cool, and that's what stuff like Blast did with STETH, is that they said that we're going to put ETH in any ETH that comes into our bridge, we're just going to deposit it into Lido. Or this would just be a slightly more different way of doing that. And then Valdov here did explain, he said it's just you'd make a wrapper, and there's no need to do any separate infrastructure work for that. So I thought that was a really interesting discussion. I'm going to keep an eye out for it to see if Sad Broker Director can actually go to these chains and tell them, hey, look, we can make you your own branded liquid staking token if you want them. And I think it would be quite trivial. Like Val said, it's just a wrapper, and he actually shared a link to a guide that kind of makes it for you. Let me see. He says this is actually beyond trivial. It's the kind of thing that you can use in like a Learn to Web3 tutorial. And then there's a link to Open Zeppelin Open Zeppelin book, and it just says ERC20 wrapper, like that's all. Like that's just, the coding is so straightforward and easy, and all the frameworks are there already. So that could be something that someone spins up in a day or two, and you can just get it all like audited really easily. Like these contracts are so robust, they've been used for years now, and that could be a solution. So let's see if anything comes of it. Okay, next we have we have this nice milestone for Haloooloolo, and this actually is not updating. My browser is being incredibly slow. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm sorry about this. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so Haloooloolo yesterday hit 10,000 RPL. So congratulations to Haloooloolo. He has been working towards this target for quite a while, and he's been earning money from the GMC and using his own money to buy RPL, and now he has hit 10,000 RPL. So huge shout out goes to Haloooloolo, and I don't think he's quite whale status yet. Like 10,000 RPL, I don't think is whale status, but he's definitely not tiny anymore. So good job, Haloooloolo. Congratulations on that milestone. And Drez said it's either going to be the best or worst financial decision of your life, no in between. And what Drez is talking about is that if RPL does well in this next few months or in the long term, then the token will rally, it will fly, it will do really really well and hit really nice prices, which would make Haloooloolo very rich. And of course, if RPL doesn't do that, if the protocol does not thrive and doesn't keep growing, then that could end up being a really bad decision where he will lose the majority of the money that he's put into the protocol. So here we are, like, cheering on for Haloooloolo and hoping that he succeeds bigly. Okay, to some staking news now, and this is some key staking news. Here is Anthony Sassano, who's very excited about this, shared this screenshot of the gas limit signaling, and it looks like now we have 16.7% of the network signaling to increase gas to more than 30 million, and the majority of those people are increasing it to 36 million. That's kind of the guidance that we've gotten from people in the EF. So it looks like that's what we're going to head towards. Now, this is actually really exciting because Coinbase has taken up about 10% of that so far, and I think getting that first big staking entity on track with this shows that I think the rest of them are not far behind, and hopefully by the time we're in the new year, we'll be above 50% signaling for higher gas limits, and the 36 million target hopefully will be reached. If you are a Rocket Pooler who's watching this, it's really easy to do that in the latest smart node 1.15.0. You just go to Rocket Pool service config, and you go to the execution client and you adjust the variable for gas. You have to enter 36000000. So you need to write in 36 million basically. So 36 with 6 zeros, and that will get you there. But yeah, we're getting closer and closer to it. It might seem like it's still far away, but just a couple other large node operators, like if all the Lido node operators did this, like we'd already be at 40% basically. So yeah, more than 40%. So that would get us most of the way there really. So definitely keeping an eye on this one, and hopefully we'll have a resolution on it really quickly. Okay, in other staking news, this is from Eric Balkunis, and he's quote tweeting a tweet from Coinage, and this is Hester Pierce, who was one of the commissioners at the SEC in the last cycle and is going to continue being a commissioner at the SEC going forwards in the Trump cycle because she's still within her term. She's saying that it looks like the SEC is going to approve new pro-crypto changes, and some of the major ones that they're going to do is allow in-kind redemptions and staking ETFs. So Eric here quotes a key bit. He says, if it changes from majority of commissioners who don't want things to go through to a majority of commissioners who do want things to go through, then yeah, it's easier. So Hester Pierce, then she basically says that they'll be looking towards approving in-kind credit and redemption. So that means that you could go to BlackRock and you could say, hey, I have ETH, can I deposit it with you guys, and you can take your fee, and they'll be like, yep, we will take your ETH, and then you will give them your ETH, and then they will like keep it on your behalf, taking their small fee, 0.2% or whatever it is. And then eventually, like, you want to take it back, and you'll be like, hey, BlackRock, can I get my ETH back? And they'll be like, yep, here you go, and they'll give you ETH back. And none of that will be taxable because it will be, a simple moving from one wallet of yours to a different wallet, pretty much, and then bring it back. So if you want to do that, that would be actually really cool. And that would be the same with BTC as well, and ETH, of course. And then another thing that she said that she wants to approve is staking in the ETH ETFs, and she says that this will make the product even more useful for investors. So this is actually really, really huge news. With staking ETFs, I think that, over the last year, well, over the first 9 months of 2024, I think maybe even 10 months of 2024, before the ETH ETF was approved, and then after the ETH ETF was approved and there was lackluster inflows, the idea was that, oh, no one wants this ETF because they want the staking ETH ETF to get that yield, like 3% or whatever. After their staking might be like 2.5% or whatever it is. Like, that's a real yield, and people want the real yield, so give us the real yield. Of course, the SEC said no to staking, and Gary Gensler kind of insinuated that it was going to make ETH a security, like if it's staked, which is total bullshit. But Gary's pissed off now, so that's good. But yeah, it looks like those ETH ETFs could potentially be coming, and if it's true that people and institutions were waiting for the staked ETH ETFs, it's possible that we'll see really, really strong inflows into those. Of course, they won't have any outflows from existing entities like Grayscale, who are converting their trusts or funds into ETFs. This will just be straight up BlackRock, Fidelity, and all these guys. Now, what potentially could be really bullish is if any of the ETFs say that they want to stake their ETH with Rocket Pool. I don't think the chances of that are likely. However, I think there's a tiny, tiny, tiny possibility that eventually we'll see some of these ETFs using LSTs on the back end. It just makes everything so much easier. They literally will have zero infrastructure costs. They'll just get the get the inflows, and they'll use it to buy, their LST of choice, hopefully rETH on the secondary market, or even, going to the protocols themselves and minting the tokens, and they will just stack them away. So if we get an rETH ETF, that would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. But anyway, this is really exciting news at the SEC, and I think that for better or worse, like, this is definitely one of those areas where it's better. But it looks like the changes to the SEC are definitely going to have a big impact. Okay, talking about the SEC, and this new SEC, well, still the existing SEC is getting a move on, and one of the things they have approved is the Hashtags NASDAQ Bitcoin and Ethereum Crypto Index US ETF. Now, this is actually really amazing because this is an ETF that will take money from depositors, and it will use that money to buy Bitcoin and ETH. Now, normally the way these work are market weight average. So, for example, if Bitcoin is, if Bitcoin and ETH is one together, then it'll probably go like market weight share would be, I think, 70% Bitcoin, 30% ETH. And as that ratio changes, then they will change where the money goes. Now, there are a few technical issues that I really want to get my head around, such as like how frequently do they calculate the market weight, and how frequently do they reposition their assets, and how does that, like, how the weighting, that system that they're going to use, how responsive is it going to be to market conditions? Because if this works out and if it gets decent inflows, which I hope it would, what would happen is, because ETH is so much a smaller asset than Bitcoin, every dollar of inflow that comes into ETH will have an outsized impact on its market share compared to every dollar that goes into BTC. And that could be, like, if this ETF or ETFs like this like really take off, then that could be the recipe towards getting ETH to grow in this market share against BTC very quickly, because of that that outsized impact that it'll have on the price of ETH compared to BTC. Now, as the price gets closer and closer, of course, that impact gets less and less. But the fact that that impact will still remain means that it could take us all the way to 50-50, which would 50% plus one ETH would be the flippening. So I'm not saying that the flippening is happening, although I still do believe that ETH will flip in Bitcoin at some point in the future. I'm hoping that happens soon, but these are the kind of things that if they're set up in the right way, could definitely add a lot of momentum for Ethereum vis-a-vis Bitcoin. And finally, I want to end with the story from Eigen Foundation, and this is actually a really, really cool thing that they're doing. So Eigen Foundation said that, in case you missed it, we announced that Eigen Foundation is committing 1% of the Eigen supply to Protocol Guild. So this was something that I covered on Rocket Fuel like many months ago. So EigenLayer go on to say, this contribution supports the incredible work of Ethereum's Layer 1 research and development maintainers, over 180 members across 29 teams, who are the backbone of Ethereum's growth and sustainability. So then there's a transaction hash, and Protocol Guild replied to this, and they said, wait, what did they say? Let me see. Protocol Guild basically replied to this. Let's actually just have a look at the yeah, and they said it's the biggest donation that they've had. And why is the reply not coming up? I don't know why. But anyway, they said this is the biggest donation that I've had, and that this now puts EigenLayer at the number one position in donations to the Protocol Guild, and I think it ended up being something like $80 million, which is a huge amount of money. So this is huge news from EigenLayer. Congratulations, and this is really great for the Protocol Guild as well, because the more money they have, especially if it's given to them in a no strings attached kind of way like this is, then they'll have a lot longer runway to keep working and keep pumping out amazing ETH developments and research. So this is really, really fantastic stuff. So congratulations to EigenLayer. I really do think that I hope more protocols adopt this idea of saying we're going to give 1% of our TGE to Protocol Guild. Eventually, I want Protocol Guild to have like 1,000 members with $10 billion of a treasury. That would be absolutely incredible. Like a really, really, really powerful institution. Fantastic. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. It's a weekend ahead, and then next week is Christmas, and then New Year's the week after that. My boys are off school for 2 weeks, so I will be making episodes more sporadically over the holiday period. I still do want to make episodes, but I'm not sure when or how or what the cadence will be. So just keep an eye out on your YouTube subscriptions feed, or on Twitter, or on Discord, wherever you find the links for Rocket Fuel. Come and check it out, and I'll hopefully have a few more episodes between now and the end of the year. So not saying happy holidays just yet. Anyway, see you soon. Bye.